This week on Inside Albania, I was lucky enough to visit the city of Kukësit. It's one of my favorite places in Albania. It's beautiful. And did you know, it's actually made up of 3 cities. There's one below the lake, which was flooded during the time of Enver Hoxha for hydropower. There is a second city, which is a network of tunnels under the main city, also built during the time of Enver Hoxha. Then there is the third city, the modern city, which stands today. But I was not there for history. I was there to visit a carpet workshop where local women handcraft chileens and beautiful rugs to support themselves. It was also a highly dramatic week for politics. The mayor of Tirana, Erion Velia, was arrested on charges of corruption, along with his wife and 5 other businessmen. This came at the same time that Transparency International announced that Albania has improved in terms of corruption. So I decided to speak to Lidija Prokic from Transparency International about the state of corruption in Albania, the recent developments and arrests, and what this all means just 3 months before the general elections. Welcome to Kukësit. I'm in a land full of yellow number plates. All the cars seem to have British plates, and I often get told that when I speak Albanian, I sound like I'm from Kukësit. That's because many people from this place live in the UK, but I diverge from my original point, and that is, during the time of Enver Hoxha, there were 1,500 local women that worked in the carpet trade here. They made chileens and large, beautiful rugs for export, mainly to other parts of Europe. When democracy came, when the regime fell, this ground to a halt and privatization didn't really work out as planned. But today, in 2025, there is a social enterprise located in the building behind me, where a group of 14, 15 women are working with the same trade, creating these beautiful rugs and carpets and exporting them. This is fantastic for the local economy, which does struggle, and they're working very hard to train up local women, to give them a trade, a profession, and to allow them to be more financially independent. I have been told that I am the first and only journalist, foreign or Albanian, to set foot inside here. They've told me I'll be the last as well, but we'll see. Come with me.
Unë që jam fizikë gjallu, ka disa vite që ne punojmë për gjetë problemin e adresuar në qytetin më të varfër të Shqipërisë, siç është Kukësi. Dhe problemi është që gratë e Kukësit, një pjesë më e madhe këtyne janë të papunë. Dhe forma që kemi gjetur ne për ta reaktivizuar sektorin e artizanatit, që ishte sektori 2 të mazbutisë që jepte një zhvillim Kukësit, ne arritëm ta bëjmë duke themeluar ndërmarrjen sociale, për të marrë gra që janë me përkraje dhe kanë një profesion që i ka humbur, për të punësuar. Dhe bëm këtë me ndihmën e shtetit dhe ne morëm statusin e ndërmarrjes sociale, duke mbështetur nga Ministria e Shëndetësisë dhe Mbrojtjes Sociale. E kishim shumë vështirë për ta bërë këtë, se nuk i dallonim biznesin social, ndërmarrjen sociale dhe çfarë formë organizimi, por ne arritëm qëllimin me ndihmën e shoqeve edhe me ndihmën e Ministrisë së Shëndetësisë dhe Mbrojtjes Sociale. Ne kemi punësuar 14 gra, 7 janë gra që janë të vjetrat më shumë që kanë një profesion, dhe që të udhërojnë profesionin 7 grave dhe vajzave të reja. Dhe tani në muajin janar edhe këto nxënëse që pas një kualifikimi kanë kalu punëtore. Dhe puna është mjaft cilësore. Produktet janë shumë të mira dhe gjetja e lëndës parë për prodhimin e këtij së gjatëve na hëngri një kohë shumë të gjatë, por tani ne kemi arritur që ta gjejmë edhe lëndën e parë që të bëjmë produkte tepër cilësore. Dhe ne kemi kërkesa për punë nga shumë vajza dhe gra të reja, edhe ne mendojmë që ta zgjerim repartin me shitjet e këtyre produkteve dhe të ardhurat që do vinë do ikin, do shkojnë edhe për zgjerimin e repartit, edhe për hapjen e punëve të tjera, domethënë të reja, edhe të punësojmë sa më shumë edhe në Kukës edhe në Tiranë, për arsye se me kalimin e kohës ose kalimin në ekonominë e tregut, shumë gra dhe vajza që janë profesionistë mjaft mira kanë shku në zonat rurale dhe ne duhet të shkojmë të ndjekim ato, të ndihmojmë që edhe ato të kualifikojnë vajzat e gratë e reja për të vazhdu punën edhe për të këto produkte. Produktet që prodhojmë ne janë të veçanta, nuk prodhon asnjë repart, vetëm ne jemi që prodhojmë, edhe gratë janë të kënaqura dhe kemi një kolektiv shembullor.
So here I am in the storeroom of the place where all the carpets are made. Now behind me here, this is the most exciting bit as far as I'm concerned. This is where the magic comes from. These are the designs that they use to create the carpets. Wow, look at this one on the back. Okay, so here we have Skanderberg, the national hero. It's drawn on gridded paper. There are notes made regarding the colors. On the back here, this is one, floral motifs. Each number corresponds to a certain color here. You can see, so they know what color thread to use and where on the design. And some of these, I mean, these are incredibly intricate. Look at them. Beautiful as well. And more raw materials. So this is the wool that's used. Let me get a selection of colors here. This is what goes into these carpets, all different colors. Now this is bought in Greece because they don't yet have the quality in Albania that's needed for the carpet. So this is bought in bulk in Greece and brought into Albania. Maybe one day Albanian wool will be of a high enough quality, but for now, to ensure the highest quality of the product, it's brought from abroad. So these are some of the finished products. Here we have a more traditional type. This is the wrong way around. This is obviously the Albanian flag sort of style with the double-headed eagle. It's about an inch thick wool, red and black. This is, I guess, to be sold abroad. But this is my particular favorite. You know, look at this. I mean, more contemporary in style. This would be at home in a fancy house in New York or London or Tirana. Beautiful colors, more contemporary style, but still with the traditional Albanian motifs. Again, this is wool. It's made to last. The workmanship, the quality of it is fantastic.
Unë quhem Fadile Kameraj. Qish në 86-ën kam punuar në Artizanat. Atje pastaj u mbyll në kohën e regjimit, kam fillu privat. Kam punu të shtëpia, kam pas vekin shtëpi, kam punësu dhe vajzën e kam mësu. Prej atëherë deri tash nuk jam lart punës asnjëherë, gjithmonë kam punu. Është një punë e bukur, e mirë. Veç kemi dëshirë të na mbështetë edhe shteti pak, nuk të keq se porosi. Por sa ndërhyrjen e shtetit që të na ndihmojë edhe me miqu punimet jashtë, që të kemi punë më shumë. Kjo është një muaj e gjysmë, një punëtore me punon.
Sa metrë është?
Kjo është 1,40 me 2. 1,40 gjënësia me 2 gjatësia.
Shumë kohë, shumë punë.
Shumë, po, shumë punë.
Po, ka krenar?
Po, krenare jemi, po, punë e lotshme është.
Dhe të lësh me fleture, me syrin.
Po, me syrin, me kret.
Po, çfarë të qep më shumë?
Mu më pëlqen gjithçka, se jam mësuar me këtë profesion, s'kam qef të mbas asnjëherë.
E të vajza jote?
Po, dhe vajzën e kam mësuar që ishë në shtëpi, edhe sot që është ka dalë punëtore tash.
E të fëmijë vajzës ka interesuar për vazhdojnë me puna familjes?
Këtë vajzat dinë, edhe di tjera dinë, po ato janë në Itali të martome. Se këtë vajzat i kam mësuar në treja. Faleminderit.
Kjo është një sigjade punume për i dorës tonë, 1,80 m është me dje 40, punume me cilësit më lartë, me fillë leshi, pamuku, vizatimat i kena të mirë, edhe ta shofim që cilësia jonë, sigjade jonë, se punume me dorët e tona.
Dhe sa ditë? Sa javë?
Ne e kemi punu për 1 muaj e gjysmë. Di veta, di punëtore. Di punëtore kemi qenë për 1 muaj e gjysmë, 2 muaj, ka që na ka bo. Do me majnë menën a qaje na që këtu punëtore, e kena menë njene përqëndrume në vizatim. Edhe s'na levizmi një fare, vetëm të vizatimi, që i kena para. Se pa vizatim nuk punohet. Edhe kjo, po ai tip është. Me ato vizatime, vetëm kemi bo 100 gjirash. Ai motive, suku i pari edhe kjo. Po kjo ka 100 gjirash. Ashtë me gjanë, prit me 90 është kjo. E para kemi 70, kjo me 90.
So this is the place where everybody works. This is a social enterprise, so they're all working together. They have space where they can bring their children to work while they're working after school, or if they don't have childcare options. And this is really empowering for many women here who might not have many childcare options. They work together, they talk together, they teach each other, they learn from each other, they share stories and perhaps gossip with each other. You know, it's a really nice environment where they're working. They work, the products are sold locally and a bit internationally, and they earn money and a steady income for that. The prices, the Chileans that they're making here sell for about 80 euros a square meter, which is really cheap. And the larger carpets, like the ones we showed you earlier, these can sell for around 800 euros a square meter. But you have to remember how much work goes into them. We're talking months, not just days, but months of work for 1 or 2 people. In my view, this is still quite a low price when you consider the quality and the amount of work that goes into it.
Quhem Miranda Dyraku. Kam që 8 muaj. 6 muaj kam nejtë në Zanse. Edhe 2 muaj kam dalë punëtore. Edhe kam marrë këtë rrugicë. Kam punuar.
Është punë vështirë?
E vështirë. Është pak e lodhur, me ndihmën e specialistave. Ja dë.
Sa fëmijë?
Kam 4. 4 çuna.
Wow, 4.
Pra na punojnë, se keni 4.
Do ka një jam ullone, po ka?
Ne jemi lodhur.
Ti erdhe në punë për pushim nga fëmijë, më do.
Qa me bo? Puna në ndimën sa është anti-stres. Punimi pak për stres.
Edhe, çfarë mendoni fëmija jote për punën ti?
Fëmijët
Është kurioz?
janë kurioz, edhe janë të kënaqur ku ma shohin puna. Se kam, po. E kam një djalë, e kam të madhen në Gjermani. Po, edhe më lip fotot, është shumë kurioz. Më ka marrë edhe me kamerë, është shumë kurioz. Edhe i pëlqen.
Ne po bëjmë një qëllim, dhe me thanë me ngjyrat që na pëlqen që kombinohen, edhe doon kujdes, dhe me thanë shumë kujdes edhe ngjyra, dohet edhe punimi mirë. Takti, dohet punimi do e reja, mirë, dhe me thanë. Kështu. Se duhet shumë kujdes se me boni gabim, duhet prish prap, do të vendos poshtë, ku ardh gabimi. Dhe mundohem si sa më mirë ma bon.
Po, një dizajn, është në kokën tim, ti kutim për të gjitha, po...
Dhe me thënë, e kam bërë rombin e parë dhe i kam mësu për meq. Dhe me thënë, i kam mësu për meq edhe i nisi rombat pa vizatim, dhe me thënë. Kena vështirë vetëm në rombin e parë modelin si janë. Si ta mësoj modelin, e majmë, dhe me thënë, e majmë men dhe bëjmë rombat e tjerë.
Këtu kemi pak muaj që kemi fillu. Në shtap një shoqat në është mësu nëpërmjet shoqës fizikër Gjaliu, që ka bërë të mundur hapjen e prodhimit së gjatëve këtu në Kukës. Më përpara kemi punu edhe kur ka qenë ndërmarrja e madhe prodhimit artizanatit, prodhimit së gjatëve, që Kukësi atëherë ka pas për eksport për jashtë shtetit. Jam punëtor nga 13 vjetë që kam punu atëherë. Bashkë me punëtorët e tjerë, që kemi punu bashkë me Barijen e Fadilen, jemi munduar ta mbajmë gjallë frymën e punës me dorë, prodhimit së gjatëve, qëllimeve, punime dhe artistit e tjera, që janë të ndryshme, që në krajinin e Kukësit ka të shumëllojshme. Punimet e trikove, qentrot, qaratët, e çdo tjetër. Kukësi ka qenë gjithmonë një zonë e izoluar dhe pa mundur për pas mundësi punë ose mundësi ekonomike. Pjesa më e madhe se kohën më të madhe në Kukës punojnë më shumë gratë, edhe pse janë gratë duhet të mbajmë edhe familjen, edhe punën.
E çfarë pëlqen më shumë nga puna tani?
Puna së gjatë vazhdon të jetë se pasioni im gjithmonë.
Punë me dorë, do të thënë.
Puna me dorë së gjatës. Punojmë edhe gjëra tjera me shtiza. Që quhet edhe ajo punë me dorë, po më shumë jemi kushtuar së gjatëve tash që është edhe kjo punë artistike, sa e bukur, pak edhe e vështirë se ka lodhje, po ke në të njëjtën kohë ke edhe heqje stresi, problemeve që mund t'i kemi edhe dalja këtu, kolektivi, kalojmë çdo gjë bukur për tetor sa jemi këtu. Se gjatët gjithmonë, edhe Kukësi ka pas për eksport, kanë qenë prodhimet mira, modelet mira, kanë qenë bukura. Janë shu gjithmonë ku kanë ecë në për shtetet huaja. Edhe këtu, jo si kërkojnë shumë, se pasi prodhimi një së gjatëve që kushton pak kohë, ka edhe një kosto pak më të lartë. Që për ne këtu është pak e vështirë që mund ta blej në njëri që të kese tregshitje. Se na bëhet të mundë nëpërmjet organizatave tjera, shoqatave që të na ndihmojnë që të ecim prodhimi jonë shitet, pasi cilësia e këtyre është e njëjtë si ajo në kohët e përparme që kemi punu, dënësia nuk ka ndryshuar, modelet janë tralla, 34 mm në një metër dhe 10 ponç që i ka 34 radhë.
Initiatives like this are really important, not just because they're keeping traditions alive, traditions which are being lost day by day throughout the whole country, but because it gives some economic empowerment to people here. Kukësi is an area of Albania which is plagued by issues with demographic crisis. You know, people are leaving en masse. They were going to live in the UK or Germany. Everyone I've spoken to here says, oh, my brother is in Italy, my daughter is in France, you know. Everyone has someone close to them in migration. And there is a limit to what can be done to bolster the local economy here. Some people are very hopeful for tourism, but that can't be the only avenue. Things like this, they preserve tradition, but they also bring economic stability to families and give opportunities to women that might find it difficult to find other forms of employment.
Atëherë, që ku kam qenë pak më e vogël, kam punu me mami në shtëpi, më ka pëlqy. Më tërheqte që të hyja të punoja. Më vonë u shkollova, kështu, përfundova prapë jam këtu, për një jetesë më të mirë. Mbaj familjen, e kështu.
E sa fëmijë ka?
Unë kam 4 fëmijë.
Ka vajzë?
Po, kam 2 vajza binjake dhe 2 djem.
Sala.
Po.
E dhe vajzë jote, sa vjeç?
Janë 6, janë vogla. Po, janë vogla.
Vajzë është interesuar për punën?
Po, i kam marrë këto. I kam marrë dhe këto kanë qef, kështu, hynë, shohin me detaje, na vazhdojnë kështu. Atëherë, puna më e vështirë për mua është këto tek vizatimi. Jo që është e vështirë, se është vizatimi qartë, por që nuk mund të arrish shpejtësinë me këto që janë më të vjetra. Kjo është puna pak më e vështirë për mua.
Dhe ti e pëlqen punon me mamin?
Po, më pëlqen, normal. Kalojmë pak kohë bashkë, shihemi më shpesh.
Unë nuk imagjinon marrë mamin tim në punën tim.
E po.
Po, është mirë edhe me fëmijë.
Po, është pak vështirë, po mundohem. Do të mundohem.
Po, është mirë për ju, sepse ka punë të fëmijëri.
Po, shpresoj që të hapet më shumë këtë treg, të vinë më të reja, të interesohen, punojnë, të mësojnë.
Shpjegove pak
Po,
sistemi punë.
unë kam fillu punë që 20 vjetë, që në ndërmarrin 7 ore, pastaj me qësë unë mbyll ajo, ne punutëm privat, pastaj u hapë që ndërmarrje sociale, dhe këtu fillutëm punë, jemi të knaqëm me punën, po të ja dëshirë që dhe shteti të vinë pak do, që të nëndimojë, të hapë zgjerot kjo lloj pune, që të punen edhe të rejat, që për gratë është punë e mirë. Puna është pak e lodhshme, po modelit i bëjmë si mas kërkesave, çdo lloj modeli që mund të na i porositin, ne mund na bëjmë, arrim ta bëjmë. Se na bëjmë modele shumë të vështira, lloj modelesh, që na kanë ardhur porosin që na punu. Me penin, me na një mushteti që edhe pet na i sjellë që kjo lloj pune duhet me pas lëndën e parë cilësisë të lartë.
Si ka histori?
Po, këna punu, që të lloj punime dhe atjerë në kohën e partisë punës, që ka qenë ndërmarrje e madhe, ka pas rreth 800 punëtor aty, po, edhe aty këna po që të lloj punime, që të cilësi, që të punim, për që ka qenë punë shteti aty, dhe organizeshim me administrata, me drejtora që janë këto, dhe punëtorë punishin si mas porosive që bishim për shumë që këna pa lidhje me jashtëtetin, me Gjermanin. Jena të interesuar që të mësojmë sa më shumë të reja, që kjo traditë mos të hupe. Më thanë tjetë më ardim gjithmonë, se kjo janë në kërkesa më punu. Dhe po të punen të mësojnë edhe të rejat, kjo tradit nuk hup asnjëherë.
So that's it. That's done my time in Kukësit. I've been given 2 carpets to take home with me that I'm really excited about. I'm covered in bits of wool and things here. But what you didn't see on the camera, because some of the women were a bit shy, was the enthusiasm that they have for their work. You know, they're really proud to be carrying on this tradition, to be doing this work. They're proud to be making an income for themselves. And it's important in a place like this because every single one of them told me, oh, you know, my cousin is in Italy, my uncle's in the UK, my children have all left. There was one woman, she was like, I'm alone here. Everyone, all my family have left. They're all working in immigration. It's just me. I'm lonely. I'm a bit sad. But the work keeps her going. The camaraderie with her friends. This is a fantastic initiative. They just need more work. It's a social enterprise, which means they're working for themselves. It's not like a private business that's making a profit for just one person. This money goes directly to the livelihoods of these women. This is a cause that people should be supporting. It keeps places like this, beautiful cities like Kukësit, alive. Lidija, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today and welcome to Inside Albania.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your interest and for the invitation. I'm glad to be here.
So this week, the Corruption Perception Index was made public, and Albania has, well, it appears that Albania has improved when compared to 2023. The ranking went from 85th out of 180 to 80, and the score was of 42. But can you explain a bit about how this ranking works? Who is at number one, who is sort of last, what that means, and what the score means separate from the ranking?
Yes, Corruption Perception Index measures public sector corruption, and it measures it on a scale of 1 to 100, where 100 is an ideal situation in which we can say the institutions can have full control of corruption. In terms of ranking, I would caution that those are not the primary thing to look for in Corruption Perception Index, because the ranking that a country has in any particular year also depends very much on the ranking and the success or lack of success of other countries. For that reason, Transparency International really really tries to convey the message that countries need to look at the scores primarily. Mm-hmm. And it is the scores and the trend in changing the scores that reflect what the state of anti-corruption in a country actually is.
So the ranking, the fact that we appeared to move 5 places up, it doesn't necessarily mean that we did our homework in the last year. It means that maybe some other people did better or worse, and we've sort of moved around. But with the score, how did that change from 2023 to 2024?
Well, the way that Corruption Perception Index is calculated is that it takes into account different measurements of different expert group, business people, and it measures their perception of corruption in any of the countries. The number of scores varies for each country. For some, there are only 3 scores available, for some as many as 10. For Albania, we have 8 scores. And we look at changes in each of these scores when we calculate Corruption Perception Index. This year we have measured an improvement in the index, but when we look at the scores that are below the index, there are several changes. Some are smaller, some larger, and we can attribute this change in score particularly to one of the underlying sources. But at the same time, if you allow, I would like to comment also on what we are seeing, what Albania is actually doing to deal with corruption. In our view, this is really driven by the success that is showing from justice sector reforms that were conducted in previous years. We think that what is driving the score is actually increased trust in judiciary and its ability to fight corruption. Now we are seeing increased number of investigations, of indictments, also the verdicts. And this is most important when we speak about corruption at the highest level and with public officials who are in high positions of power and are engaging, or there are allegations of their engagement in corruption.
So it's a case of it's not a fact as such that Albania's got less corrupt, but the perception of experts and individuals and stakeholders that you've spoken to about Albania across 8 different areas, the perception is that things have got a bit better, mainly due to SPAC, which is the Organised Crime and Corruption Court here, which has been very busy over the last year. And as you mentioned, have been a lot of high-profile arrests. And this is sort of the situation we're seeing.
Well, corruption as such is a very complex phenomenon to be measured directly. And that is not only a limitation for Transparency International, but everyone who is engaged in this field. But what we are trying to do with the index is to actually give a cumulative assessment, to look at all different reputable independent organizations and institutes, and at their assessments of the level of corruption, of institutions' ability to take control of it, and then we accumulate that into a single index. And as such, the index is actually a corruption measurement that covers the largest number of countries out of all of these other assessments.
And in your view, what is holding Albania back? So we've said, you know, the justice system is maybe improving things, people have more trust in it. What is Albania still really struggling with in the eyes of the people that were involved in putting this together?
Well, what we see across the region, and is also to a certain extent case with Albania, is that the executive power and the ruling parties are usually taking too much control and have excessive influence, both on judiciary and prosecution, and on the other hand, on the legislature. So as a consequence, we see increased levels and something that we can call systemic corruption. This is still something that Albania has gone a long way with justice sector reforms. Now what we see as a very good sign is, for example, the work of the new ministry against corruption and the new strategy to fight corruption in Albania that is showing a willingness to put in place comprehensive system of measures that not only sanction corruption, which is very important, of course, but also to deal with it in a preventative way, and to try to find early indications of potential corruption and to prevent it from happening. What is still left, and I think there is space for improvement, is something that we see in other countries, and that relates mainly to high-value public contracts, direct negotiations of such contracts without sufficient transparency, without competition, so that we could know that the public interest is served in the best possible way.
Now, we talked about the justice system, and I know maybe this is not covered specifically by Transparency International, but I want to ask you, as someone who is an expert on these matters, SPAC, which is the Special Court Against Crime and Corruption, has been very active over the last year. We've had the former Prime Minister and President Sali Berisha. He was on house arrest. He's now not, but he's still under investigation. We have Ilia Meta, former Prime Minister and President, in prison awaiting further investigations and a trial. We had the arrest of the mayor of Tirana, Erion Velia, this week, which has just dominated the news completely. And this has caused, you know, a nuclear fallout in the political scene. Everyone's saying, oh, SPAC is this, SPAC is not independent, SPAC is independent. SPAC is saying, leave us alone, stop commenting on what we're doing, let us get on with our work. I'm wondering what, from your perspective, you make of this situation. I mean, people are saying SPAC is being used, it's being weaponized. Others are saying, no, it's not. You know, what is your view of this situation, all these arrests of very high-profile people in such a short period of time?
Well, what in our view, the work that SPAC is doing is actually showcasing in the best possible way the effectiveness of previous reforms in the justice sector. Judges and prosecutors have gone through comprehensive vetting process for their integrity, conflict of interest, etc. And we hope that this is an expression of their independence and their impartiality. And that is actually all that it takes for them to be able to do their work impartially and independently of any external influence. I would say that these comments are perhaps natural, but they are also a distraction and to some extent can be dangerous because we also these reforms have taken a lot of time and a lot of resources.
Yes.
And now we are at a stage where their independence needs to be protected from any external pressure. At the same time, what is encouraging is that citizens in Albania recognize how vital these institutions are to fight corruption, and it is not without a reason that we see that in public opinion surveys, citizens put their highest trust with the work of SPAC.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I've heard before, there are measures in place, even from the salaries the people that work in SPAC are paid. It's an incentive not to get involved in corruption. There are a number of safeguards to ensure its independence. Of course, the fallout is natural, when it really starts working and it's like a revolving door of officials going in and out. People are bound to criticize. But yes, you're right, the public they do seem to have trust in it, the general public, not sort of those that are heavily politically affiliated. And obviously, the impact is seen in your report as well. But I do have another question. We have general elections in 3 months, and, we have the leader of one party under investigation, just out of house arrest, the leader of another party in prison, and the sort of de facto second in command of the Socialist Party currently in prison as well. And I just think, okay, there's obviously a reason why they're there, but this also has a negative impact on choice as well. Democracy, there's very little choice. We've got, less than 3 months to go, and they're either in prison or under investigation. Who do you vote for? There's not a real choice here. This is my opinion. I'm just wondering what you think about this sort of situation where we have such a high number of political officials facing justice.
Well, it is certainly a complex situation to be in, but I would go back to the purpose of the elections, and that is for the people to choose their leadership and to nominate those who will govern on their behalf. And from that perspective, I think if there is involvement of high-level politicians, high-profile politicians in corruption, it is in best public interest that these people are not given the chance to take that role again. And at the same time, if corrupt politicians are taken out of the system, then it opens the space for other individuals to enter and to actually govern with higher integrity and to put more attention on the interest of the public.
I mean, that's the ideal situation, isn't it? Anyone in prison or currently under investigation should not be running an election. That's the ideal scenario. But none of them are standing aside, so it's a situation where we have the incumbent government, you vote for them, or there's a handful of smaller parties which are all in sort of single digits in the polls, or you vote for these individuals who may or may not be spending significant time in prison in the near future. I know in theory, it would be good to have it like that, but it's a difficult situation. As for next year...
If I may...
Yes. Sorry, yes, carry on.
If I may just say one thing, I think it's been a situation for a very long time, and this is not specific to Albania, this is applicable to a wider region, that political parties haven't really paid much attention to selecting their candidates based on their integrity and the trust that the public has in them. So this, in a way, this is also an opportunity for the political parties in Albania to put up candidates who stand for high standards of integrity and who will be active and effective in fighting corruption in their work. And citizens may recognize that as well.
I hope so. I hope this is what's going to happen. Maybe not this time around, but definitely the next time around. I know it's February, but do you have hopes for things? If we carry on the current sort of trajectory, do you think things may get better for Albania? I've lived here 7.5 years. I think things have got better in the time that I've been here. I'm wondering what your perspective is. Are you hopeful?
Well, if we can agree that judiciary can continue to work, to do its work independently and free of pressures. If there is an open space for civil society to be engaged in decision making, if media are free, those are still things that Albania needs to improve. And also, if the ambitious goals of the new anti-corruption strategy are actually implemented and those objectives achieved, I think we will be talking about significantly better situation. But it really takes a lot of commitment and consistency and continuity on the part of public officials to have all these reforms in place.
And also, I guess
we certainly hope that it is there.
Also, I guess how the elections play out as well. You know, the weeks before, the days of the vote, the counts, how people behave afterwards. I guess that's going to have a big impact on how corruption is perceived in the rest of the year. Lidija, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's all for this week. You can watch Inside Albania every Saturday on Euronews Albania at 4 o'clock on our YouTube channel and across all major podcasting platforms. Until next week, mirë pafshim!